Many organized crime leaders who have been arrested by the government have told different kinds of sad stories of how they committed murder and got away with it. But in today's video, we're talking about a mafia boss who used a method that can be described as the worst of them all to discard the bodies of his victims. What way, you ask? Well, you're about to find out. Mafia boss Veljko Bjelevuk, popularly known as Velja Nevolja or Velja the Trouble, is the leader of the Janjakari gang. The so-called football fan group has been doing way more than being fans of football. The group is known for its ties to the ruling Serbian Progressive Party and has even met with President Aleksandar Vučić. Velja Nevolja was recently arrested by the police after two members of the organized crime group signed an agreement to testify about all the crimes committed by the group. Police have said that Bojan Ervatin and Nikola Spasojevic will serve 15 and 14 years in prison respectively. The entire Bjelevuk group has been indicted for several murder cases, kidnapping, rape, illegal possession of weapons, and drug trafficking. The group allegedly has connections to drug trafficking organizations in Montenegro. 18 members of the group that were arrested refused to say anything, but after the two who have spoken up did, Velja Bjelevuk agreed to speak up on three cases. Firstly, the murder of politician Oliver Ivanovic, the suspicious death of lawyer Vladimir Cvijan, who was a former associate of President Vučić, and lastly, the shocking nighttime demolitions in the Savamal's neighborhood in 2016. Since their arrest, the police have searched all their apartments and other properties owned by members of the group. During the search, the police discovered traces of crimes committed and objects used to commit the crimes. Among the houses searched, one of them had the most evidence. Bjelevuk bought the house in Ritopek from Vlado Dragonic, who was also a member of the group. The house, which is now referred to as the House of Horrors, was bought at over 100,000 euros, and Bjelevuk paid that much money because the location of the house is perfect for both drug trafficking and murder. Although the house belongs to Bjelevuk, he didn't buy it in his name, as the house is still registered to Dragonic, who used his earnings from the sale to acquire a luxury apartment in the Zvezdara neighborhood. The House of Horrors isn't called that by chance. According to police, they found a secret room that holds a lot of evidence of murders and the darkest secrets of the group. The secret room is located in the basement of the house, and the entrance is properly covered. There are rumors that the police were only able to find that entrance because someone from the group told them where to look. They found a safe in the house that held a large number of weapons and pictures of a man whose head was cut off. The authorities also found DNA traces of different people in the house. Hopefully, the DNA traces would help investigators identify all the people who have been mutilated in the secret room. The picture seems to be of a man named Milan Lepoja, who was seen entering the house, but he never came out. The most surprising find in the secret room was an industrial meat grinder, which boss Velja Bjelevuk and his close associate Marko Mikovic, who was nicknamed the Butcher, have been using to dispose of their brutally murdered victims. Gory as it may seem, the meat grinder explains why the authorities have not been able to find the bodies of those the gang has murdered in the past. In Bojan Ervatin's testimony, he stated that it was his duty to perform tasks planned by Velja Nevolja and Marko Mikovic. When he spoke about the murders and the grinding of the bodies, Ervatin said, after each murder in the house in Ritopek, the meat grinder, as well as the room, bunker, were thoroughly washed with hydrochloric acid and varicina. We untied the bodies by cutting off the head, then the limbs. The bones are broken, and all of this is put in the trough and then in the grinder. Everything grinds into plastic and then a canvas bag. Bojan confirmed that the bodies of victims were never found because their already ground remains were emptied into the Danube. He said, "We carried the bags to the Danube. One enters the water halfway with a sack. One by one, they are carried. The bottom of the sack is cut with a scalpel, and everything is poured into the river." Ervatin has also admitted to his involvement in the murders of Goran Velikovic Goksi, Zdravko Radojevic, Milan Zapoja, and Lazar Vukacevic, which accounts for 4 of the 5 victims the group is currently being charged for. The police suspect that Milan Zapoja was the group's last victim before they were arrested in February this year. According to them, members of the group had offered Zapoja an armored car for sale. He was then asked to attend a meeting on December 8, 2020. Zapoja had no idea who he was meeting with. Bjelevuk and Milkovic had already decided his fate because they suspected he had planned the attempted assassination of Radoje Zwitzer, who is the leader of the Kavak clan in Kiev, and that was the last time Milan Zapoja was ever seen. Velja Bjelevuk's testimony had raised a lot of dust, especially with President Aleksandar Vučić. He started his confession with the 2016 demolitions in Hercegovaca Street in Belgrade's Savamala district, which played a key role in the UAE-Serbia joint real estate project, the Belgrade waterfront. Bjelevuk stated that he was directly involved in the demolition of the Hercegovaca streets. According to him, a Kosovo-Serb businessman Zvonko Veselinovic was also involved in the demolition. While speaking on the issue, he said, "I will start with Savamala, and then I will start with much more serious crimes. Zvonko Veselinovic, Saleh, and I sent guys to demolish Savamala." Veselinovic is known for his relationship with the ruling SNS. He is also one of the people being accused of the murder of Oliver Ivanovic. In February 21, sanctions were imposed by the US against Veselinovic as the leader of an organized crime group that deals in illicit goods, money, drugs, and weapons. President Aleksandar Vučić was quick to dismiss Bjelevuk's claims as lies. He said Bjelevuk and his gang have a right to defend themselves with lies. Since Bjelevuk's confession, the Savamala demolition case has begun to unwrap slowly. In an official statement to the prosecutor, former police officer Goran Stamenkovic admitted that state officials promised him good compensation if he admitted guilt for lack of response exhibited to public complaints on the night of the demolition. The people of Hercegovaca Street had reached out to the police when they saw masked men using baseball bats and diggers to demolish buildings on the street, but the police didn't respond to them. Since the time of the incident in 2016, Stamenkovic is the only person who has been convicted in the case, and he was only given a 5-month suspension sentence. If the sentence had been 6 months, Stamenkovic would never be able to work in the police force again. President Vučić also dismissed Stamenkovic's statement as a lie. He said, "When someone lies once, he must lie twice more." Vučić went ahead to praise the Belgrade waterfront project, saying there he would have sat in a bulldozer and knocked down the buildings. At the time of the demolition, Vučić claimed the Belgrade city authorities were responsible, but Sinisa Mali, the then mayor of Belgrade, who is also the former wife of Serbia's finance minister, has admitted to investigators that Vučić was behind the demolition. Bjelevuk's next testimony about the death of high-profile lawyer Vladimir Sivian also points fingers at President Vučić. The lawyer is said to have mysteriously drowned in 2018, but the case was left unrecorded until 2021. The fact that without public notification, Sivian had been removed from the Belgrade Bar Association register in August 2018, coupled with the silence about his death, stirred up controversy in Serbia. In 2010, Sivian joined Vučić's Serbian Progressive Party, SNS. At the time, Vučić was the chief of the SNS party and sang Sivian's praises for his move to join the party. "We are honored and proud to have one of the best lawyers in Serbia in our ranks," he said. SNS came to power in 2012, and Sivian was made an MP, but he left the party in 2013 after a disagreement with SNS. In December 2013, at a press conference, Sivian publicly criticized Vučić, who was then deputy PM. After that, Sivian became inactive to the public, but one report said he died on January 5, 2018. In Vučić's defense, he stated that Sivian was not killed, and even said he would willingly take a lie detector test to confirm he was telling the truth. Bjelevuk has been able to prove his gang's connection to state officials, the former high-ranking police officer, and the current leader of the SNS party, with well-documented evidence. There are pictures of the gang members serving as hired guards at the inauguration of Vučić as the president of Serbia in 2017. The pictures show gang members manhandling journalists at the event. There are also several pictures of Vučić's son, Danilo, with various members of the Janjakari group. And that's all on our video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos.